So now that we understand the ins and outs of those settings, let's actually do some editing to our quiz and make it more interesting. First thing, your title may be similar. And so title it how you want. It's automatically collecting the email addresses. Same thing, first, last name. I deleted the one for the schools because we want this to be shorter. I might want to know the language you teach. It could help us here. This question here about learning priorities, it doesn't belong here. So when you click it, it's going to give you the opportunity to edit things or delete. If you wanted to undo, it does give you the option to undo, or you can Control Z if you do something wrong. Then I've changed the section on sharing your form. And after this is done, we're going to have a chance to share our own quizzes that everyone's created. But I think I want that to be last. I think I want our questions to go before you create your own and share your own. So if you would, click right here. And do you see the options here? If you wanted to duplicate this section, you could. If you wanted to move it, you could, or you could delete it entirely or merge it with the one above. In this case, I'd like to just move it to the end. So we've got this session where people checked in, and here's the share your quiz. We're going to bump that to the end and hit save. So our section 2 is now going to be a matching section. And I am going to be putting in different works of art that you guys will be matching to the artist. Let's see if you all have knowledge of Spanish artists. I've got my question set up now as a multiple choice, and it's going to be a simple who created this work of art. We've got multiple choice here. And so now what we're going to do, we've got a whole bunch of different choices. We're going to add the picture. I have found a website where there are different works of art from different famous Spanish painters. And so I'm going to right click the picture and it says copy image address. Once I do that, I'm going to pop back over here. There's different ways you can choose pictures. And you could upload camera by URL photos. You could search your drive or do an image Google search. Any of those are okay. I'm going to paste this because I already found it. Insert the image. And in this case, I would like to have these two go together. Since we're going to be shuffling questions, it works well to have the picture be paired with the question itself. So there's lots of different ways you could do this. This is one example, and in this case, I would want to give this a title, Who Created Picture Number 1? So we've got this portrait right here, this painting, I apologize, and it's going to be matched with these. If we choose to shuffle the questions and the sections, it's going to make things really confusing. And so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to just add a question, I'm going to add a whole section so I can make sure those two stay together. Or if I hit Control Z and undo, I want something that's going to be very, very similar for the next section. Do you guys remember here where it said duplicate section? So let's go to another section and we're going to choose a different picture. So we're going to do picture number 2. So let's switch this out with a different picture. Change. So let's browse Google Images and find something. Let's find Two Fridas by Frida Kahlo. This looks like a pretty good picture. And when you do it through here, it's going to choose ones that are licensed to be shared. So we've got this one right here, and we've still got our artists. Whenever we go to our settings at the front in the last video, you guys chose to shuffle the answers, and that is where this comes in. So let's go here. We're going to explore this answer key. Click on the bottom. So you are in the question and you click the bottom. Let's say this is 25 points. All right. So the correct answer, we're going to mark and click done. And we already put that it was worth 25 points. Let's go back again to answer key. Do you see this section that says add answer feedback? So we can provide feedback so students could go back and make corrections. This would be at the end when they see the answer is wrong. And so we could give them feedback of how to identify this a little bit better. I typed in a clarification right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to link it to a video, or actually this one is just an article that I found online that goes through 10 famous artists. So students can actually go through and hopefully they would identify her, but it gives the feedback into, I might want to rethink this particular one now that I'm scanning through, into the different styles, and they could easily use it as a reference to kind of figure out and reconsider what it is that they chose. Let's go back. On our first question, we forgot to mark a correct answer and give it points. So we're going to go back here, and here is where you edit the question. And do you see where it says answer key? Click it. And so on the top right here, we're going to make this 25 points also. And the correct answer for this painting, we're going to click, and that's worth 25 points. Add answer feedback. Once again, we can link it to an article that would explain what it is that they were looking at or who they might want to consider. This first one came from this, and so I could link it here, just like I did before. So students could get feedback to look back at these artists and reconsider. One might argue that this particular website is going to give away the answer, and it's okay. It's not the end of the world because the students are actually learning as they go through it. So they may not necessarily be on the spot right then and there, but they, by going back through, are actually learning something and making improvements. So let's go through and add a different style of question. We've got match the painting to the painter. And so let's add another section here. Remember, here's our toolbar that floats. We're going to add another section. Where did it add it? It added it in between because that's where I had clicked. And so once again, I'm going to bump this down. So do you see here the 3 dots on this section? I'm going to hit Move Section. And I'm going to bump this untitled one here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to title this one Name That Style. If you really want to mess with your students and see if they really, really have mastered something, you can tell them to click all that apply. That means there will be more than one answer on some of them. So you get to see how well your students are reading the directions this first time around. I'll come back as soon as I get some information in here. I chose a picture by Frida Kahlo where it involves multiple different criteria from the topics we're studying. And so name that style. So this is going to be painting number 3. Okay, so in this, there's actually more than one correct answer because it's both a self-portrait and it's surrealism. And so when you click on the question, instead of being multiple choice, you could choose check boxes. So it's both a self-portrait. Oops. Okay, where it says answer key, then I would click on self-portrait and surrealism. Remember that this is going to be shuffled whenever we actually go to answer these. And so once again, we can also put correct answers. We can give feedback if it's incorrect, and correct answers can also get feedback. This one I'm going to put, since it's 2 different questions, for 50 points. Here's the deal, it's all or nothing, so they have to get both of them or they don't get those points. It's kind of tricky. Notice down here, it doesn't say required. I definitely want to make sure it is required. If you notice here, the 3 dots shuffle option order, and so it would reorder these whenever the students see it. So not only are you shuffling questions, you could also be shuffling options. Or if you wanted to turn off the question shuffle, you could actually shuffle the options instead so that students could be looking at the exact same thing and one would have the answer appear up top and the other would have the answer appear at the bottom. To get that, you click the question. Oops. Make sure you are in the section that is for the not correct answers, the one where you're actually creating the question, and click Shuffle Option Order. So we've got 100 points worth of this quiz. I'm going to be changing it up so that you guys can take it. And section 5 is going to be for you guys to create your own quiz and then to start sharing. Once again, remember to share it, click send. And this is the way to get the link. You can either copy it this way, or you can simply push the copy button down here and paste it where you would like it. Thank you for watching. I hope you get a chance to play more and more with all of these different gadgets and different options available in Google Forms. Now you all are going to get to share your own quiz and try taking quizzes from each other and see how you do on the ones created by your fellow colleagues. Thank you again.